Harry, the Duke of Sussex, cuts out the toxic parts of the online world like a digital diet. Now, family, there's something that I missed about the People's interview, and People magazine has not finished excerpting from the cover story with Prince Harry. So I'd like to share it with all of you today. Now, Prince Harry really did give them a big interview to highlight the Invictus Games. It's funny because when Prince William spoke to People magazine exclusively last year for Artshot, he only gave them one paragraph, which was likely written by Jason North, and he tried to drum up support for bringing Keenshot to the US. Now, crash cut to Harry, Prince Harry speaking movingly to people about being his mother's son, and truly, Prince Harry embodies his mother's spirit. He's a good man, a good father with a great, great heart. And now Prince Harry speaks of what he's learned about the Invictus and what he's learned through Invictus and how he understands what he has to do to protect his mental health. I think that practically forms the basic headline for this podcast. Now, Prince Harry talked about how he protects his mental health. And I think that we can all learn something from Prince Harry. Now, because Prince Harry and Meghan, they have both been through so much. If there's anyone who can give you a lot of knowledge about handling mental health, then it's Prince Harry and Meghan. So the Duke of Sussex, who has spent a few weeks ago cheering on service personnel and veterans at the Invictus Games in The Hague, tells people in this week's exclusive cover story that he remains mindful of what information he consumes, especially amid times of conflict. He said this: "For much of my life, I have been in the fortunate position of being able to help veterans, other people from all across the world." Harry says, and says this, and I quote, "As a veteran of conflict, but also simply as a human, I take care of what my mind ingests, like a digital diet, cutting out the toxic parts of the online world and the way stories are put in front of us, baiting us in one way I prioritize my well-being." I think the most fundamental part that grabbed my eyes was this part of which Prince Harry said this: "Like a digital diet, cutting out the toxic parts of the online world and the way stories are put in front of us, baiting us is one way I prioritize my well-being." Now, we all know what Prince Harry and Meghan have been through. Every single day for the past 6 years, from the moment Prince Harry's relationship to Meghan became public, Meghan has undergone racism. Both of them have been bullied and abused for such a long time, and it continues to this day. And to hear Prince Harry say this part, like a digital diet, cutting out the toxic parts of the online world and the way stories are put in front of us, baiting us, is one way I prioritize my well-being. Now, family, there's so much abusive content out there aimed at Prince Harry and Meghan. So much abusive content. And hearing Prince Harry's words on how he cuts out toxic parts of the online world, truly, it makes me, understand a lot. Because for me, personally, when I've seen all this abuse that Prince Harry and Meghan have faced at the hands of the tabloids, I ask myself sometimes, did they see it? Did Harry see this? Did Meghan see this? Because you can be sure about one thing: if it affects me, imagine how the person it has been aimed at feels. Imagine how Meghan feels. Imagine how Harry feels. Think about that. So hearing from Prince Harry himself saying that cutting out the toxic parts of the online world and the way stories are put in front of us, baiting us, that part, baiting us. Those stories are meant to bait, and they have grabbed hold of so many of us, even me. They've grabbed hold of me as a fan of Prince Harry and Meghan to try and, engage with these members of the rotor, the tabloids, and members of the squad. I have to say this: listening to this, what Prince Harry is saying is quite insightful, because it's practically telling us in a way that you have to avoid these things. You have to do your best to try and avoid it. And members of the squad, however, there are things which we can't avoid. Things like, death threats, or no matter how hard it is to ignore those things, you know that there's someone crazy that might have listened or heard what Eamon Holmes said and may want to do something about it. I mean, look at Fox News, what it did in the US with Donald Trump, the insurrection at the US Capitol. Some people believed what they were told. And therefore, in as much as, there are things we should ignore, and there are things that we cannot ignore. Now, let's listen to what Prince Harry continues to say. Prince Harry says this and adds, and I quote, "I also make sure to talk to people directly one-to-one about what they're going through and try to learn from their experiences and understanding of the world. Many of the athletes have credited the Invictus Games with saving their lives by giving them a community that understands and supports them. Every time I hear that it goes straight to my core," Prince Harry says, "I really feel it. I feel it with everything that I have. Every hug I get from the competitors themselves or their family members, I feel it when they share with me what it means to say their husband, father, wife, or mother simply smile again. Sport is the mechanism. Purpose is the potion. Mindset is the medicine. Many of these families have been to the darkest places imaginable. While each story is different and unique, the lessons are more relatable to all of us than they might seem. I am proud to watch their recoveries, but even prouder of their service to others. I believe their presence and resilience is quite literally saving more lives than we'll ever know or hear about." Now, members of the squad, the part that I loved about this interview with people is how Prince Harry deals with, this toxicity. We've already heard from Meghan what he said. Meghan said this, like, "I'd advise you not to read the tabloids because they are very, very toxic to your mental health." And I can understand from Meghan's, point of view. It's true. It's true. There are times when the tabloids have been able to make my blood boil. When I saw the threat made by Eamon Holmes on TV, it made my blood boil. I reacted. I was upset when I saw it. Like, how is this possible? How can someone say something like that? Issue a death threat on live TV towards two individuals, just a couple, for falling in love. That's all. The racism that this person couldn't hide towards Harry and Meghan. I mean, they have been doing this to Harry and Meghan for such a long time. The bullying, the abuse, the racism. And it makes my blood boil. And I ask myself, like, how do I deal with this? Sometimes they say, let me talk to the squad about it. Let me make a podcast about it. If I speak to the squad, our community, I can feel much better. I feel relieved. I feel, happy. I feel much, much better off. I mean, because talking to you all, members of the squad, whether it's in the comment section, whether it's on our live chat, through this podcast, talking to you has helped me so much. And to each and every single one of you, I say thank you for helping me as well deal with this, toxicity from the tabloids towards Harry and Meghan. Because if you are a human being, you cannot, it brings out something in you. This toxicity brings out something in you, something that isn't good. You're pissed to see the injustice that is happening towards another human being because the reason is racism. But they can't stand the fact that Harry married a black woman with a black mother. And that so much is very, very much true. They cannot stand it. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off to see what they have both been through. But to hear from Meghan, I hope that she doesn't see this vitriol. And by the looks of it, as Meghan said, like, I'd advise you not to read the tabloids. They are very, very toxic to your mental health. So I'm assuming she doesn't read it. To Prince Harry as well, He says this. He says something that is very, very fundamental, that basically this is the theme of this podcast. Cutting out the toxic parts of the online world and the way stories are put in front of us, baiting us, trying to grab our attention is one way I prioritize my mental well-being. Prince Harry continues. I think that's one of the parts that I wanted to focus on this podcast. Tell me what you think about that specific part that Prince Harry said in his interview with People magazine, because I missed this part and I said I have to share with you this part because this is important. Prince Harry is showing us, to me, I feel like Prince Harry is showing us how he deals with toxicity. I feel like he's telling us there are things which you should just, ignore completely and ignore. They're trying to bait you, so don't fall for it. Don't let them bait you. If you engage with them, if you click on their articles, you'll make money for the tabloids. So avoid it at all cost. To me, I feel like he's just directing people and actually telling people to avoid this toxicity. Avoid toxicity. Keep yourself in a good mental health space. A good mental health space is advising us to do that by showing us how he deals with toxicity. Prince Harry is showing us that. And I think that we should all find a way to learn how to deal with it ourselves as a community, as fans. First of all, don't click on an article by the Daily Fail. It just starts with there. Don't click on an article with this on the Sun that has a 24-hour commentary on Meghan, yet it doesn't have any access to Meghan. 24 hours commentary on Meghan, yet they don't have any access to Meghan. It is those things that we as fans should try our best to avoid. Don't click on a tabloid. And don't get these people engagement or money. And members of the squad, I know it can be difficult, but let's learn together. Let's learn together how to avoid it. Let's learn together. That's what I wanted to focus on this podcast. And members of the squad, just tell me what you think about this part in which Prince Harry said, cutting out the toxic parts of the online world and the way stories are put in front of us, baiting us is one way I prioritize my well-being. He says us, him and Meghan, Prince Harry and Meghan, both of them, because both of them are the subject of so much abuse and vitriol aimed at them by the tabloids. Now, tell me what you think. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think about this specific part that I've been mentioning and talking about in this podcast. Tell me what you think about it in the comment section and in our live chat. With that and so much more, stay tuned to our next video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and support our growing family on YouTube. And stay tuned to our next video. Prioritize your mental health, family. Prioritize your mental health. Cut off any toxicity far, far away from you. If something is causing you sleepless night, cut it off. If someone that is abusing you is in your relationship, remove them from your life. Live a happy life. Life is too short. Life is too short. Okay? None of us lives forever. Only God lives forever. So when you're on this earth, do what is right, do what is good, and just do what is right. Just do what is right. And God will bless you. God will bless you. God will take care of you. And be happy. And in any situation, be thankful to God. No matter what. Praise Him for every single thing that He does. Wake up in the morning and say thank you. And you will be blessed. With that and so much more, stay tuned to our next video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts on Prince Harry's interview with People on cutting off toxicity. Tell me what you think. And stay tuned to our next video. Love you, family. Hello, members of DUCHESS Family TV. First of all, I want to say thank you for all your support that you give us to our channel. We don't take it for granted that you support this channel. I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for lending out your support and fighting against injustices, supporting Prince Harry and Meghan, showing them love. Love will always triumph over evil, and for that I say thank you. Good will always prevail over bad. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for joining this community, this amazing community of the Successful Family TV. I love you so much, family, from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you all the best. May you have a great day, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and learned a lot of things. With that and so much more, stay tuned to our next video. Leave a comment below, like, and subscribe. Love you, family, always and forever. Sayonara.